Jason, Brent, good to see you guys. It's been a while since we've got to see each out there. I know we're all anxious to get back out there and get fishing, but in the meantime, you guys might remember there was a little tournament we put on last fall, the Sqwincher Patriot Cup, and it's always fun to go back and watch these things. And I don't know about you guys, but I love to learn from these things. And if I remember right, I don't remember the whole day. I don't even actually remember where I finished for sure, but it was quite a week, quite a fun event up until this final day. So I'm anxious to see what I did right, what I did wrong, and I think you guys are ready to do that as well.
For sure, yeah. It's to me, it's exciting to watch it go down and remember what you did and what was, you replay kind of what was going on in your mind, and then now I get to see what other guys were doing. And it's funny because I always watch it and go, man, I wish I'd tried that, or I always want to know what everyone else did.
Yeah, and then we've got the local hero there that done pretty well there on Fort Gibson. Yeah, dissected thing.
Yeah, the Fort Gibson's only 20 minutes, 25 minutes from the house, and whenever I found out we were going there, I was really, really excited, and the water, was coming up. I'm like Brent, I don't remember really anything about it. I remember more about the second day than the last day. But it's gonna be fun to watch. It's always hard for me to watch these or the TV shows because you always think that you got beat, by somebody doing something special or crazy, and it's never that way. It's always something simple, easy, and just something that you overlooked.
Exactly. Something you're actually doing, but for some reason you think that they're doing something special.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the good thing is with Jason, he's going to probably know everything just by sight where guys are at. So with that, are you guys ready to get this thing started?
Yeah, let's get it rolling.
Do it. All right. So push play.
You're going to be faced against once you get to the ramp.
It's funny as this thing gets up here and going. I've been watching social media, and I think it was Allie that played that little clip of the night we had the little basketball game going on out there at the hotel.
You can light it up in a hurry. That's a good one. Yes.
Yeah, you got to see some of the guys that you think were athletic that really aren't.
Exactly.
Don't be pointing any fingers at the guys on this Zoom call right now.
Yeah. No, yeah. And also there's guys that you wouldn't think that's athletic that are.
How about Ott Defoe winning with barefooted and winning back there against everybody else?
Yeah, he looked like a wrestler playing basketball.
I was a pretty good basketball player.
It's the Sqwincher Patriot Cup from Muskogee, Oklahoma, presented by.
Yeah, this was one when they said we were headed to Oklahoma. You always got to be a little wary, especially when we're headed to Muskogee, because that's where Jason's from. So.
Yeah. I've fished there a lot. It's a really good lake, and being in the fall. Sometimes it's a little tricky, and that's the only thing that worried me. And you never see it high in the fall.
That was for the Midwest. That was a big exception. We don't see that usually. Hey, Brent, had you ever been to Fort Gibson?
No, that was my first time. So really, it didn't matter that it was high or flooded because it's the first time I'd seen it. But, I mean, granted, the only thing about being flooded is it's so hard to find the fish. But other than that, I didn't have a spot I needed to go to. Everything was free for me.
Well, Fort Gibson is a lake that's really flat, and if you get the lake, 3 to 4 foot high, it's awesome. Whenever you get up over that 5, 6, 8, 9 foot high, it's really tough to fish because the water goes so far back in the woods.
And in that, if I remember right, it was like 6 or 7 feet higher. It was maybe at 6 feet high when we started the week, and it kept raising the whole time we were there.
Yeah, I think the last day it was like 9.5. I think, if I remember right.
So was it going up every day that we were there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And for the fans that are watching this, they don't realize we're not able to do the homework that we typically can on a normal lake. It's not like we can get online and find out what the lake's doing or any of the lakes. The only thing that we're allowed to do while we're there in Muskogee is watch the weather. And if I remember right, one of the days while I didn't have to fish, thank goodness, there were some pretty good storms that came through, and we got a couple inches of rain on top of that while we were there.
Right.
Yeah, it rained a bunch while we were there. And the other thing people don't realize is that when the lake's coming up like that, it's not like we're running back to the same places every single day. We're going to new parts of the lake we've never seen before. So you don't know how high or how much that water is actually coming up.
Exactly. Let's see what old Jay Lee thinks is the right bait that need to be thrown.
It's a great bait to cover a lot of
Well, spinner bait, yeah, that looks like a pretty good choice. I'd be willing to bet everybody in this derby probably had a spinner bait and a square bill tied on.
cover a lot of water. That's important in the fall is to cover.
I didn't have any of my Jason Christie signature models though back then.
Like this one.
They weren't out yet. All I had were prototypes. That's why they weren't working as good back then.
They weren't
I'm
dialed in.
now though.
Yeah, they're out now.
Yeah, I've got a
They
bunch of
redo the last day and let me throw the ones out of the package and see what happens. Especially after we watch the show, we'll know where to go.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, I heard a rumor
Watch
at the
out.
ramp afterward of where a lot of fish were caught. And I want to confirm that rumor on this show because it's one of my favorite places to fish, and obviously I didn't go in there.
wow.
This show is gonna, I'm gonna learn a lot from this show, knowing where it all went down.
So hearing you say that, there's old Marty. Yeah, now I'm kind of remembering we were in the middle of the lake for the final championship round, and the success I had on the lower end, I caught him on a stuff. Well, basically all the first 2 days that I fished, I caught him on a spinner bait, and as good as I caught him in the sudden death round on the lower end on a spinner bait, I really thought I had a shot at winning this deal. To have it kind of peter out like it did was obviously pretty disappointing. But when you mentioned that, if I remember right, the one thing I'd heard was the way it plays out. I think first and second came out of the same cove or creek. So I guess we'll see if I was right on that or what you remember there. It's always funny to hear Marty break down these bodies of water as well.
I know, really.
And that's adjustment these anglers are going to have to make.
But I think we need to get him a hat. Old Marty needs him a hat.
Might be the same lake, but it's going to
Brent
think
can
I've
bring
seen him
him
with
one
a
of
hat
the West Coast
here.
flat bill.
challenge in this championship round.
Oh yeah, a flat bill would be great.
Yeah, I think you should see if you could do that sometime for Marty.
I'll give him one.
Marty, Brent's going to bring you a flat bill for this fall when these cups get going again.
Looking for green bushes and birds.
See, and that's what's pretty interesting. When it's on to the championship day, we kind of have an idea of what we want to look for. So at least that's what I was doing. I was pretty dialed in at that point, and I was committed to go look for something specific. And that that ultimately might have been a kiss of death for me.
That's for sure.
I think I remember on this one in the runaround period that I didn't finish everything I wanted to do, and I just had to start somewhere that wasn't exactly where I wanted to start, but I didn't want to be running when it was lines in, so I just went ahead and started.
Yeah,
right.
When we got started when we ran around on this one, it by far, in my opinion, it was the best looking of all the different parts of the lake that we fished, and I really thought this one would be the best one. And, I guess we'll see how it plays out.
I'm with you on that. Like I thought
don't think I'm gonna have any trouble.
the section that we were fishing the last day was, that's my favorite section to fish all the time. And I do remember the first couple of days I made it. You guys aren't going to believe this. I made the last round pretty much fishing offshore. Not catch. I caught a few out of the bushes and willows and stuff. I was mainly fishing like old roads and underwater, points that are normally, a foot deep or something like that. And that's how I was catching them. And going into this last day, I started looking for that stuff, and it was really, really hard to find. There's not a lot of that stuff in that section.
So that almost seems what it sounds like. Is here we are breaking it down before we've even made a cast. Is it sounds like that water, as it was coming up, was scattering those fish out more and more.
Not gonna be here so long. I just got this one little opening here. We'll fish and then we'll move on.
Oh, Edwin's probably got a fair amount of experience there too, doesn't he? I would think.
I think every fish that I've caught this week, except for one, has come off of a point. And that just tells me, they're running water and stuff. So probably do a lot of that today.
That's interesting to me that you fished offshore and did stuff like that. Because with the water being high, I wouldn't assume that they would be on that kind of stuff.
Well, I was looking for schools to fish. You know what I mean? Like, the end of an old road or a boat ramp or something like that. Schools to fish where I could catch them quickly.
Gotcha.
And you know how sometimes you go to a tournament and you get dialed in on something like that. You get confidence and you just want to ride it out. That's what I got dialed in on early. And it was just hard to go flip bushes and look for one here, one there. Because I found a school. I think it was the second competition day. It was the where you had to reach a certain weight, and I literally went out in a few minutes.
I remember that. I think we were on the same day.
Good thing we weren't back in that hole for the finals, right?
Right. You better be glad we weren't on that hole for the finals.
Yeah,
honestly, I don't think it would have panned out because I felt like I caught, I think the cut weight was 14 pounds. I caught like 12 pretty quick. And I had to sit there, and I finally caught another one to go out. It wouldn't have lasted on the last day.
I haven't got a chance to see the other sudden death round. I felt like the day that we fished for sudden death, I can't remember if I fished the same day as you guys did or not. I felt like that weight of 14 pounds was pretty light. How about you guys?
I was glad.
You were glad, yeah. Well, I was too when you're one of them that goes out pretty quick. But yeah, at the same time, it seemed like our day was over pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Well, see, ours. I want to say that I was the last guy in. I think it took me until third period.
Did you fish with me, Brent? I can't remember. Was that it was
No, Jason and I were in the same group. Mark Rose,
guys for the other day.
Or maybe you were. No, I don't think you were with us that day. Who else was on that day? Mark Rose went out for Edwin. Yeah. Mark went out first. Jason went out second. Edwin, and then myself. I was the last guy in. And I think I did it in third period.
2-1. Championship round. Let's get it done.
We're starting, guys. Ooh, it's so exciting.
Remember how it gets started or anything?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go, Mark.
Little bitty.
Couple swing and misses right out of the gate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most of my fish I caught that week, I caught on top water and like a square bill, top water and things like that. And it was always places where I could reach the bank.
It was clean. It wasn't solid bushes.
Yeah, and I ended up starting in one of those big flat areas where it was just massive amounts of bushes. That's one of those rich that you get back in there, and if you find them, there's a ton of fish. But I wasted a bunch of time.
I think I remember where I started. I fished steeper banks, so there wasn't as much brush between the shoreline and bank, so they couldn't go like what we talked about earlier, Jason. Where they can go so far. I fished the steeper stuff, so they couldn't go very far.
I remember right. I think that's kind of how I end the day, is more in that steeper stuff, and started catching fish fairly decent. But that makes a good point. When the water gets that high, that's the best thing you want to do. You want to be able to get to places where you can get to the bank, because the fish can't hide. You're at least fishing around fish where some of those places you see me fishing, the fish are so far back up that I just can't get to.
Why are they right here versus 20 yards, 30, 40, 50 yards away going towards shoreline? Yeah, it's tough. They spread out so much.
They keep talking about the local advantage, and we know, and I think some fans know, it can burn you. It can burn you a lot of times. Sometimes it helps, but sometimes it can hurt, because you just have so many stories and memories of where you caught them and how you caught them.
I want something isolated.
Yeah, you're exactly right. When it gets to our caliber of fishing, I look at some of the best events I've had. We're on places where there was a tremendous amount of guys that had a ton of knowledge. Like Smith Lake last year, where I finished second. I mean, I was tickled to death to get out of there with a second place finish with the guys that's their home water. And then I look at some of the same things too, where we come to my neck of the woods, a Grand Lake, a Table Rock, where I know a lot. And it ends up coming back to bite me. So, yeah, you got to be really careful with that stuff. Ehrler. Oh, a good one.
Look at that.
Yeah, that was my first bite. I took the lead instantly.
That's a good way to start the day.
I think it was a 4-pounder. I think that was the biggest fish I caught all week, and it was my first bite that morning.
Was that flipping?
Flipping, yeah, that's what I caught most of them was flipping and chatterbait and 1.5. I think a lot of them came flipping.
3 ounces.
Oh my goodness. The first bite of the day is a 4-pounder. Look at that one.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest one I caught all week.
Wow.
That's a good way to start the day.
Cool right there.
You know what I noticed? I remember now looking back at this stuff that the fish were high in the water column there. You know, even in the bushes, they bite it instantly. Or a lot of times, you pull the bait out of the water, and the water would boil when it would leave when it come out of the water. I think those fish were sitting up on just the top kind of third of the water column.
Seems like that happens a lot whenever it's rising.
Yeah.
They get up high like that.
Yeah, and I think also too is the color of the water. You know, if it be clear, I mean, that's just my opinion. I think they stay pretty high.
12 ounces.
Wow.
At that spot, I just caught a 4. I stood up after weighing that 4. My next flip, I missed one. And about 2 or 3 flips later, I caught my second one.
2 pounds 3.
Yeah, that makes you feel pretty good when you start the day like that with a couple bites. But
Yeah,
now I'm starting to remember now that Rose
1 ounce.
started beating us pretty bad there.
You know, and here's something that really hurt me. And we do, I know you guys do this. We do it a lot in these cups and even in the Bass Pro Tour. I made the first 2 days by fishing, you know, offshore stuff that underneath the water. And Rose starts getting out on the big lead. And what do we all think he's doing?
Oh yeah.
You know, he's found an offshore place or something like that. So it made me even look for the offshore stuff even more because I felt like that's what he was doing.
especially if you catch a couple really fast. It doesn't feel like you can go and flip bushes and do something shallow and catch a bunch repeatedly like that. I remember at the end of our zone, there was a causeway with a bridge there. And I remember right now when he caught 4 or 5 in a row, that I'm like, oh, he's on the causeway. There's a school of them right there.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen him sitting there.
Are you serious?
Like he either started there like for the first few minutes or he ended the period there or something like that. And I was convinced. I'll tell you what it was. It was the round before. That causeway divided it.
The 2 zones, yes.
Yeah, and I felt like he was fishing the same school of fish, just on different corners.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too, because I remember seeing him there.
Yeah.
On the sudden death round. I'm like,
the head game too. We're out there on the water and we don't even realize it. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And what's funny too is that I never ran to that bridge because I just was like, oh well, Rose is fishing it, so I'm not going to go and fish it.
Right.
Yeah. I think I eventually ran down there at some point because I just had to know and probably was assuming the same thing. And yeah, you guys didn't miss much. If I remember right, that was the other thing. The day we were there was a big tournament going on. Remember that?
Yeah.
There was a big tournament on that final day, and that's when it was. I went down to that bridge, and there was like 3 or 4 boats on the one stretch that we could fish of just local.
Oh, wow.
And if I remember right, the point of it, the biggest sweet spot that you could think of, I thought I might be able to pull in there and catch a fish. There was a pontoon boat anchored right on the sweet spot, and they were like crappie fishing or something. I tried to fish, you couldn't even fish it. So yeah, you guys didn't miss anything.
Oh, man.
Oh.
That was a scoreable. Nice fish.
There's number
I
one.
wonder where he's at. I caught some in there actually, I think later.
That's just right in the marina, isn't it?
Around the corner, kind of towards the causeway. There's a little marina back there.
Yeah.
Championship.
That's like a big, well-known release there. You have a lot of tournaments out there.
Oh, really?
Can't
Yeah.
lose any fish.
Has that whole one side going in there has a riprap wall. The bushes are perfect. They're right against the riprap. I fished the whole thing, never had a bite.
It'll be boiled on it as soon as they hit the water. Gosh dang it.
I caught some in there when we fished a select there. Remember that, Jason? The very first select we ever fished was
Yep.
on that same part of Fort Gibson, that same body of water. So
Were you guys there on Fort Gibson the whole time, or did you guys go with us?
No, that was just one round. We went to Hudson.
just caught his first bass that weighed 1 pound 0 ounces.
Just to think
Ten
that
Killer,
would
Fort
take
Gibson,
long.
and Hudson, and I didn't get to fish on Ten Killer.
Just
I had to go to Gibson and Hudson. See,
And where
I
was the
kept
other?
running into, I kept running into Edwin every
pound, 11 ounces.
every competition day.
Finally.
And that's why, because he's fishing a lot of the same stuff. We're looking for the same thing, isolated stuff.
Yeah.
Get into more bushes here than we've had the whole time, and we can't get a bite now.
That's me. I was fishing off of history from the previous 2 days, and
That's what I want.
you know, obviously things could have
A
changed.
lot better job now. You can give me them score trackers the rest of the day. Well, it is a team effort. Add another one to it. Stay on there, baby. Stay
I
on
launched one right here because didn't we take off just around right in front of him is where we launched from, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I lost one right there a little bit on the next round. I think there's a guy on the bank that was mad at us for fishing there.
Really?
Yeah, he was mad and started casting at the boat and was trying to cast in front of us and all kinds of weird stuff. Edwin was there too. Like, I'm gonna get out of here, and I'm winding a chatterbait along, and I remember I like jumped on the bush and then started jumping. Oh, it's a fish, and then it came off, and then this guy's yelling at me like, "God,
I just decided to start catching.
Was he yelling at you because it was his property or what?
it was his fishing spot, I guess."
Yeah, I wish we could all do that.
So we need get 3, 4 in a row. That'd be nice.
He wasn't as mad at me as he was at Edwin, though.
Probably because Edwin was in there the first period.
Yeah, you're right.
Another scoreable fish.
Edwin was on his hole all day.
You got braid on there. I can hear the braid
Yeah, I'm
zinging.
trying to think. I'm trying to think of where I'm at.
1 pound, 5 ounces.
Oh, I know where I'm at. Just more,
Was
just
that
more of the same. Yeah, just more of the same thing. Running the bank, looking for ice cream and stuff.
He's doing
that,
it for top water.
Pop R.
All day long, and where I dropped.
Anybody throw it for auger? I would probably work.
I'm like, man.
Yeah, I probably would have. I just felt like it was deeper in that Pop R. I could call them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you were fishing again around more open water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Jason, do you know where Mark Rose is there?
Mark Rose
Yep.
caught his 5th bass, 1 pound.
Well,
Yeah,
why
I
is
thought
there
it was.
so many
Now
fish?
has 9 pounds 0 ounces.
Why is there so many fish where he's at?
Get away from us.
I think because that creek that he's in is really steep.
Guys, you can't
It
get
has a
much time.
has a lot of docks in it. I just felt like when that water came up, a lot of those fish from those docks and stuff just flooded the back. It doesn't have a lot of cover on the left and right, meaning it's pretty steep. The first flat that they can go to is in the very back, and that's where he's at. And it goes back and it splits in two.
Yeah, that's what they wanted was the flat stuff then.
Yeah.
When it came up, they went for the flat stuff.
So see, he's already playing head games with me. I'm thinking Mark's out catching them deep somewhere or offshore deal.
That's Jordan. He'll be back here investigating now.
And yeah, Jordan was in the same little stretch.
I fished right up to those guys, and I didn't even know they were back there. I know right where. Yeah, I caught a couple on the outside, but I never went to the dead back. I think I saw someone back there. I turned around and left. I never came back.
Yeah.
You can't. When they're in there doing that, you can't.
Oh, come on.
Not gonna go back there and fish. You know, I mean, they've staked their claim. You can't.
There's our old buddy Aaron. Let's hope we see old Aaron back out there fishing with us soon. I know our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family and the crazy stuff he's going through right now. So
Unreal.
It's neat. It's neat to see him, and I know we all can't wait to see him back out there with us.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding.
Mark's making it look easy here.
Mark Rose now has a total of 6 fish. His last fish weighed 1 pound 14 ounces. He has a total now of 10 pounds 14 ounces.
Wow.
That's when it hurts right there. If you start getting those updates, and
Yeah.
it makes you fish faster. It makes you do things that you normally wouldn't do.
For sure. Go
Man.
on.
You know, one of the things I'm sitting here thinking about looking at Mark,
2 pounds 0
a lot of the flats and stuff, you know, they get flooded. There's grass and stuff like that. Where he's at, there's actually a creek channel, meaning gravel, you know, clean bottom and stuff like that. And I think there's just a lot of variables there that drew those fish. And the reason I'm saying that is I've been catching them at home the last few weeks, doing the exact same thing. I mean, it was like schools would be in that gravel, you know, and they'd feed and stuff in the trees. But I think that was the reason why he's putting it on us.
You think it has to do with oxygen or something with the water that's coming in from the rain? Does that add to it as well?
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah,
nutrients?
fresh water.
Fresh water.
Fresh water. I think it just moves everything back. I think you got crawdads running in or moving around. You got perch moving back there looking for worms. I just think it's a perfect little.
All I know is where I started and fished that first period looks way better than where he fished. I think I should have done better than I did.
I
But
can play it out of my head right now.
I mean, I remember this place right here, and it looked just absolutely phenomenal. And I might have caught one or two little tiny ones. But that's when you're really scratching your head when you're fishing those isolated bushes like that. You can't get a bite. It really has you wondering.
After catching his first 2 scoreable bass of the day, while Brent Chapman and Aaron Martins have yet to join the party.
You know, I was really surprised.
Brent Ehrler continues
We didn't catch bigger fish all week. I don't think I ever caught a 4-pounder. This lake has big ones in it. I mean, like 5s and 6s. I just think the fish were so spread out. It was hard to concentrate on a big one. You know, we're just fight. But I was really surprised we didn't. Yeah, we didn't see.
So Jason, let me ask you: had that lake, had Fort Gibson just opened up when we got there? Because hadn't it been closed for a long time because it was so flooded, or was it like the only lake that was open and had a lot of pressure? I can't remember.
No, you know, it was just now coming up. So
Right.
I think it was open. You know, they had that tournament. I don't honestly, I really don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was open.
But you know, that's the thing I got to say about Fort Gibson. I've only fished it a handful of times over the years, but I really like it because I grew up fishing Grand just like you did, Jason, but it reminds me so much of Grand.
Yep.
But the amount of small fish that was in that lake and the amount of shad, I sure hope we go back there soon because, you know, it's for the next several years, it's going to be phenomenal fishing there.
Yeah, well, we fished an event over there, not last week, but the week before. We had a MLF style boat officials. Edwin was there and I was there. And Edwin beat me. He had 62 and I had 61. And we caught fish. I mean, I didn't even figure out how to catch them until like 3 hours left to go. But I went back and looked at it, and my best 5 was like 22, 12. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and we had 61 pounds.
Wow.
And probably caught another 15 fish that was between 1 and 2 pounds, you know. So just a lot of fish over there right now.
Yeah,
So you had
it's a good
2 pound
place.
minimum.
Combinations, and you're gonna get a bite.
You had a 2 pound minimum when
and
you
bushes
Yeah.
and stuff, and
Wow.
you might think you're
Good.
gonna catch one, but it's just they're really not on that stuff, and that's why I'm scared to just take off flipping.
Main Lake Point, it's windy on it with bushes.
So crazy when it comes down to this right now. You know, I know we've all been through this, and
This morning, so
you're sitting here, every one of us is trying to think of what we're going to do next. You know, when someone's obviously doing something right and you're not, and you're trying to figure it out. You're running, you're trying different things, you're trying to see different water out there, and you can't just go run around the lake because you're on the clock. So you're constantly trying to figure out the best way to do what you need to do with what's given right in front of you. It's so hard to do that because your mind's racing on what to do. I mean, look at Rose. He has 14 pounds. I'm in second with 8. You've been fishing for how long? 30, 40, 45 minutes maybe? We haven't been fishing for very long.
Yeah.
And to have
Yeah.
someone, you know, have twice of anybody in the field.
And here I'm still trying to get a bite.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
A lot of us are doing the same thing. This is a tournament that, just by the looks of it so far, it's not about what you were doing, it's about where you were doing it at. I mean, if you know these two guys are catching them, it's all about they found the right area.
so dialed in.
And that happens sometimes.
One bait.
Yeah.
there's
And,
no,
and that's the, that's the
Way to
difference
go.
with the Cup events versus our Bass Pro Tour event. We don't get any practice. So you kind of have to just, like you said, Brent, take what you got and build off of it. And I just picked an area of the lake that looked phenomenal, but man, it sure wasn't. And I spent, well, probably way too much time there. So.
Got an update for you, Edwin. Jordan Lee has moved into third place. He now has 4 pounds 6 ounces.
How big was Jordan's fish?
His last fish was 1 pound 5 ounces. He's 5 ounces ahead of you.
It's funny watching different guys. Some guys hate the score tracker, but I got just watching Edwin. Man, he is one of those guys that wants to know more about the score tracker than probably anybody.
Way as far as we got in the back of this
what's
creek.
going on, huh?
And that's kind of been the pattern that I've noticed on this lake.
Yeah, they're back in the woods back there. It's just a flooded woods.
I keep throwing the spinner bait. It's because what I have confidence in. I mean, I know it's, it's something that gets bit here on Fort Gibson. Elimination round, sudden death, caught plenty of fish on it.
And there could be a group of them instead of just pecking off one in here, one there on the main lake.
Yeah, they really found a concentration because both of them are just kind of fishing slow and they were wadded up there, it looks like.
And that's what he's doing right there. You can see he's sitting in that channel. There's like he's at the end of the channel back there where it's clean bottom, probably a lot of fresh water. He's probably able to catch them flipping and also like throwing down the center with them sitting in that gravel.
And Mark Rose is in the other one right around the corner, right?
Yep.
You get on a point or getting some winging. Best thing would be to do both.
Fish right there.
Geez, I've been in several already this morning. Find the ones you can get back to.
I caught one in the back of that pocket. Right there.
I think I only caught one out of there.
Everywhere. Got a deep little hole right here. I'm probably
There's a deep little corner right where you're at, right? Right next to the light pole there.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember that. It looked so good right in that area. I spent a bunch of time there, never caught one. There's a guy in the back that was tied up to a tree fishing for crappie. He goes, man, I've seen the bass boiling like crazy out there where you're at. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I turned the boat and made a long pitch and caught one right after he told me that. I was leaving. I couldn't go any farther in the pocket.
Yeah. That goes back to the local knowledge. That stretch of dock in that pocket, God, they hold a lot of fish over the years. Got a ton of big ones off of them. And you just think, all right, the lake's coming up. A lot of those big fish off those docks are going to move up.
Win the tournament. There's no giving up in this format. I mean, it's you could get on one little stretch and look like a hero.
Welcome back to General Tire's Major League Fishing. Period 1 is winding down. Mark Rose continues to hold the top spot with a 6-pound lead over Brent Ehrler. Jordan Lee's move to a new location landed him 3 bass and a move up to third place.
Still first period.
Brent Chapman and Aaron Martins
got
still
double
haven't
when
made their
anybody
mark
else
on the
has
score
another
tracker, but a couple of solid bass would get
When you get down there like I'm sitting there without a fish, you start doing the math in your head. And you're like, all right, he's caught 14 pounds in the first period, and we're not even through it. I'm like, this is what I'm going to have to do just to catch up, and it really starts to mess with you. I guess I finally caught one.
And
All right.
we might be on the board. Finally. 1
Saturday.
pound, 13 ounces.
I think so. I can't remember. Yeah, I guess it was. Everything up until that point was all on a spinnerbait, and then it was the bladed jig at that point.
Decided to join the
I don't know
now
what the deal was that day, if they wanted more vibration because that water was higher and they didn't want the flash or what. I wish I'd have kept
It's cloudy this
chatterbait.
morning, and maybe that vibration of the bladed jig is maybe more what we should be.
I remember this area now. It was one of those big flat points out on, and the tournament going on. There were locals everywhere out there, which made it tough too.
Funny because you were looking for the opposite of what I was looking for.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
Isn't that funny? It's funny how, and that's what's funny too, is hearing you say that. And when you watch this, I think we get so dialed in sometimes that's a bad thing. It makes you realize how many fish there's actually on these bodies of water, and we end up fishing past them because we're so dialed into one one specific deal. Oh wow, that was pretty, and he missed. Wow.
Back in this creek where we can hit the bank, and water probably had a little flow in here, and these fish stayed back.
Probably the water's probably cooler there too, right?
Just gonna find one like some fish busting or something. And there's a little bit like you see one come up and crash. This little guy, you'll see him pop the shad once in a while. That's a keeper.
Aaron got him one finally.
2 pounds, 8 ounces.
Yeah. Is that a spinnerbait?
There you go.
I heard the blades are jingling.
Yeah.
Aaron throws a spinnerbait a ton.
Yeah.
Spiders.
He throws that one with like 4 or 5 blades on it a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Old spot keeper or something. Why is that what they call it?
I think so.
Yes.
I remember years ago in an FLW event, that was like the number one, well before a Alabama rig. Guys were telling me that was the number one spinnerbait to throw there. All those little bitty blades.
Really?
And I don't even know one.
I don't think I ever did either.
Yeah, I don't have one.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
That's probably they're really good now.
You know, we're running around the lake looking for what we're trying to find, and these guys are sitting in one spot. I mean, it looks like Jordan's boat hasn't moved. It's got 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
He went right to our neck.
Yeah, you know when that happens, you're in trouble when the guys land on them like that.
And look at Mark, he was saying too, he goes, man, you know, he's watching Jordan catch him, and he's like, that was right where I was going to go. I was going to fish this side, and I was going to come around and fish that side, and he goes, no, back there. You imagine if he had that to himself, those spots, I mean, he would have made it.
Oh, yeah.
He'd have blown it out.
Now Edwin's where I was earlier. That's that same little stretch of docks that had all the pretty isolated bushes in there.
I look down and my bait's blown out underneath the boat.
Golly.
It was a little one, Edwin. That's what I thought of in there.
Stay on. Decent one.
Yeah, see, where he's fishing, that just wouldn't have looked appealing to me even under that situation either. But I guess you live and learn now.
1 pound, 3 ounces.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, what's happened is whenever, this is my opinion, whenever that we got the big rain, in that water, there's a lot of current coming in that creek. A lot of those fish moved up there to feed, and they're still there. I mean, there wasn't water running in, but they just hung out up there.
It can happen to any of us. Any of us can get on a tear like that.
I think both these guys have probably got back in one of these creeks, kind of like where we started.
You had it right there.
And they're just, they found a creek.
And here I am out fishing on the main lake.
But see, looking back on this, I still didn't believe that it was happening in the back of a pocket. Because see, I hadn't found anything like that, and I figured back to several.
1 pound, 5 ounce fish.
I didn't believe it.
I was
now 16 pounds.
I was thoroughly convinced he was out offshore, like Jason was talking about.
I agree. That's what I thought too. Look at that. It's still going.
You know, unfortunately for these guys, they're tucked so far back, they're in they're past a quarter-mile no-wake zone. Nobody sees them. It's not like they're sitting out there. You're running by them, and you're like, oh, they're fishing bushes. Nobody knows where they're at.
Well, see, what's funny is that now I remember I went into that creek. And I went about 2/3 of the way back and started fishing to the back. And when I got back there, I saw Cody Meyer. He was going down one side, I was going down the other side, and we got what I thought was to the back, and he turned and started coming towards me. So I turned around and left.
Yeah.
And didn't go back. And that's what it was. Is I thought Cody fished to the back of it. So Cody went to the back and saw Mark on one side and Jordan on the other. And goes, it's the end of the road for me, and I can't go back any farther. And he turned, and there I am. I had no idea anybody else was back there.
Gosh dang it.
That right there, I had so many fish that would do that. You'd pitch into a bush and the water would boil or the bush would shake. And they'd only get half the bait. Or they wouldn't
So
bite.
do you think those were good fish, or were they little ones like that, or
They were, because I remember distinctly a couple times you wind a chatterbait over the top of a bush, and a 2.5, 3 pounder would come up, and they would like, it was almost like they'd hit it with their mouth closed. They'd hit the bottom of the bait and turn and go back down. And I think they're doing the same thing with a
Hey, you can see how frustrated I am. I've literally resorted to going back to where we took off from, and that's where I ended up catching fish. It was right off the ramp there.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lines out. Into period 1.
So that's the other thing too, is at the end of the period, we have to go back to the rendezvous point, and those guys had to idle all the way back out of there too, didn't they? So that's why they'd always show up 10 or 15 minutes
Found a
late.
little area that's got a lot of shad in it. Evidently, there's a lot of fish back here.
That was a pretty good
Wow,
period.
19 pounds.
I ran back in this creek and, you know, caught them bam, bam, bam.
Jordan Lee kind of came around the corner and saw what I was doing. I mean, he got a good feel for it and went around there and caught a couple, caught 6 actually. So that tells me I'm doing the right thing. I just got to find some more areas like this.
I feel like I got a pattern figured out. I just need to go find a little bit
Can you
more.
imagine if either one of them had that little close to themselves?
The next 2 periods, and you know, hopefully we can catch Mark.
Unreal.
I wish you'd have went back there with them, Brent.
Well, I mean, Cody was back there, so
Yeah, both of you guys should have all went back there. And
I didn't even know it went back that far, because I mean, he went back and it goes back in and it makes a little turn to the right. And Cody was up in front of me going on the right, and I was going on the left. He made that turn to the right for a second, and then he came around back into view, and I go, "Oh, that's the end of the creek." And I go, "He's coming this way. I'm going to leave," and I turn on the left.
And see, that was one of the big things too that really makes it tough, because just like you said, Jason, that water was so exceptionally high. It's hard for us to grasp, because if you look at the GPS, it shows the end of the cove right there, and it may have went back another half mile. And when you can't look on Google Earth or anything like that, you can't really tell either. So,
Well, the GPS,
yeah, that's an
land right there. You assume there's land, but you don't realize, like you said, it goes back another 100 yards or 200 yards.
Yeah.
And whatever looks good, just
Kind of hard to go back there when they're already there.
I got to do something different.
But that was the other thing. How many times do we have a tournament where too many guys find the best place on the whole fishery, and it ends up not being the best place because too many guys get the fish, you know? So that could have very well happened.
If you maxed out what you had already done, I felt like I was
I
really.
think I started right here at the boat ramp on the next round.
What to look for.
You already fished it.
Yeah, that's where I caught a couple right there at the end, and I think I catch one to start the period as well.
There's like a little 20-yard riprap point right there that protected the ramp. I'm pretty sure I started right on that point.
Yeah, I caught 2 there right before the end of the break there.
I know I did at least.
I'm still scratching my head, just trying to find something to build off of, you know. And when somebody's got 19 pounds and you're at, 3 or 4, it makes it tough, and you got to keep hunting.
11 keepers. Look, he's got 11 for 19.
Finding the right location is the key to
Jordan has
success.
the next highest count, and that was 7. He got him.
For today's 6 hours.
A long.
Say that
long cast
3 times really fast. 6-hour sight or.
I wonder how much starch he has on his shirts when he gets those things done with the dry cleaner. Those things look like he takes that shirt off and he can just set it on the tabletop.
Coming out on top. Now in this second period, Jordan Lee has got a couple questions he's got to ask himself. Will he go back to the same creek, hoping they'll replenish and be enough in there that he can catch and pass Mark Rose?
Does Jordan just always think like he really doesn't know? You know, he kind of plays. You know, he plays dumb. You know, like.
I'm within striking distance.
But he's so smart.
Find another area, kind of like I was in.
No question.
Isn't there that saying that sometimes it's better to be lucky than good? He must be really lucky or something. Yeah, he definitely can find.
Yeah, you talk to him after the event. He's like, I just went over here and started throwing shaky head or something like that. And it's not luck because it doesn't happen 1 or 2 times. It's like it happens all the
We'll go
time.
back in there and keep doing what we're doing. Hopefully find some fresh water back there. That's what I gotta have.
5, 4,
3.
You know, at that point in the competition, you know, it's nice to have a break because you get a little frustrated and it gives you a chance to regroup, and you know you still have some hope. And, I mean, we've seen comebacks where guys have come back even after a bad period, but
Obviously, don't know if it's going to be good.
I remember
Taylor,
when
you're trying to save MLF gas, aren't you?
yeah.
We got to find him in this period.
We're going to
Brent just pulled the trolling motor down and started at the takeoff.
Yep, that's how much confidence I had running anywhere else.
Can we do a
Yeah,
phone a
both of
friend?
us did. Yeah, I went one way and you went the other way, right at the
Yeah,
ramp.
exactly. We were both on either side of the boat ramp and went different directions. This is where I rolled up, and the guy was mad at me on the bank. He's mad at Edwin and me at the bank.
Ah.
Meanwhile, Mark's just catching more.
4 ounces.
Thank you.
Score tracker update. Mark Rose, 1 pound,
Dude,
4
we're
ounces.
inside that
Now there's
marina
20
right there.
pounds, 6
That was
ounces.
the walkway going
I
out
might catch
side
one
of
bounce
the
right here.
Helps my
other side
confidence
of
right
the
there.
marina. The walkway was underwater.
Lets me know where
Yeah, that marina was all jacked up. It was so
One bit
high.
right there. Golly.
So you caught him right there. I caught him there right before the end of the period.
I didn't. I lost. I missed one there, and I actually lost one over behind the marina, and that was the only bites I had, if I'm not mistaken.
So yeah, see, you must fish through there, and then I come through you here in a little bit, and
He's caught 3 fish this period.
if I remember, I catch a
He's now at 23
decent one
pounds
back
and 6
behind the
ounces.
marina there. But it's a little nerve-wracking when you start venturing behind those marinas, and you never know what's underwater either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked.
All it takes is one right.
Think about how these two guys are fishing in the same spot. I mean, the same area.
Gosh, that
And
was
then they get a 30-minute. I mean, the breaks actually worked out for them because they get a break. The fish got a break.
Exactly.
And while they were gone, they come back, and it's just like somebody new rolled in there. You know, they show them a different presentation or something like that, and those fish get to going again.
Pounds,
Yeah.
2 ounces.
I finally caught me
Jason
one.
Christie has now moved up into 4th place with 5 pounds, 12 ounces. His last fish weighed 2 pounds, 12 ounces.
One more cast and then go.
Yeah, now that I'm seeing this develop, if I remember right, the three of us, we kind of battled back and forth right there in the middle for a good bit of the day.
That bridge, man. I just don't know where else you can just go down the bank.
On the bridge, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, we all.
Million back there.
Yeah, there had to have been. It's so crazy that they flooded that much back there.
His last fish weighed 1
The
pound,
fish
2 ounces.
piled in that much to make it that. I've never seen that before. It's just when you're out on the water and you're doing stuff similar, and you haven't ran into a school room, you know that Mark is out there on a deep plug or a Carolina rig or something, or 3-4 rounds, catching a school of fish that are piled up on the corner of a bridge or something.
Definitely got a pile.
I would have never dreamed that's what he was doing right there.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, there must
I
be.
mean, every one of those bushes has several fish in them.
Is that good or bad?
2 pounds, 6 ounces.
You know it's your day when you're doing it like
Mark
that.
Rose is caught another fish. He now has 27 pounds and 6 ounces.
Yeah.
Up to 16 fish.
It's not
They're
over.
just
but
around
that
for me.
lady is singing.
Mark Rose has got to be doing something pretty dang special.
You know, my boat official just called out my weight, saying I'm 15 or 16 pounds ahead of the next guy. But these guys, you better keep your foot on the gas. There's no time to rest.
Wow.
You got to go.
You're making it look fun.
Yeah, he's definitely not sweating as bad as I was. That's for
1
sure.
pound, 12 ounces.
Right. Caught one. On the spinner bait. When you come up here and you fish two.
See, I'm fishing a spot that looks just like that. I don't have that.
It's just like where Mark was at.
Yeah.
It's probably the same spot. Mark was just farther back, and you can go all the way back
Get
there.
that bite and you think you're going to get a bite on every tree after that. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, just like Edwin's saying there, then you hit 100 more trees and don't get another
confidence in
bite.
anything other than throwing pop R, and just not a lot of pop
This
R.
right here is where score trackers start. You know, you start
with the wind
fishing
blowing.
fast, and you like you guys said, you got to make up a lot of weight, and we're all fishing this event to try to win. It's you know, so we're trying to think of how how can I go catch 25 or 30 pounds? What I need to do to switch. And you, what a lot of people don't understand is when you have a lake level like that, you don't have a lot of options. I mean, you know.
So it's funny. It's funny you say that about shifting gears and having to go catch a lot of fish to win. So remember that first select we fished there. And I remember you and I kind of battled it out there, and I think I actually fought you off and actually won the day, and you finished second. But what was really interesting was I had got to fish one or two of the cup events before we fished the select, and you hadn't played the game yet. And I'll never forget, I was kind of frustrated that I had to fish against Jason Christie on his home water in that select event, and we went out. And the only thing I knew that I had an advantage of is I'd played the game a little bit beforehand. And I remember Christie goes out that morning, and I caught a couple fish quickly, just small little 1-pounders. And I could tell Jason was fishing he was still in that 5 fish mode because he fishes, and finally catches one, and it's like a 3-pounder. And then he goes a while, and I catch a couple more, and he catches like another 3 or 4-pounder. He's catching quality, but he's not catching the numbers. And that was the only thing I was able to do. I got ahead of him in the morning because there was about towards that second or third period, he shifted gears. And that final period, you must have figured something out. And he like went from towards the bottom all the way to second and almost caught me in that final deal. So
yeah. Let me tell you how that went down. That was my first select event, just like you said. And whenever we came to the lake, when you guys came to Fort Gibson, you know, I'd watched the show and I thought, I'm going to show these guys how you win with big ones. Like, we're not fishing for 1-pounders. We're going to fish for big ones. And I caught my first keeper with like a minute left in the first period to have my first squirrel fishing. I was in last. You know, I'm fishing for big ones. And at that break, I decided, okay, this is not a 5-fish limit. This is MLF. And I went back to the launch and retied everything. I took my jigs off, my spooks off, you know, tied square bills, shaky heads, and stuff like that on. And that, whenever I started coming back, that's what happened. It took me one full period. I was in last place. And I thought, all right, no more 5-fish limit. This is MLF style now.
I'll never forget that because that's exactly kind of what I thought in my head was. I'm like, he hasn't figured this out yet. And it was that second period. He figured out how to play, and it was, thank goodness I'd built up enough of a lead that first period because once he figured it out, it definitely, you could tell he knew the body of water good.
Yeah.
Problem is, all of us know how to play this game now, and as you can see, they were putting the hurt on us by them. I think that's in the very back where the marine is all there to the left of me there. That was in the back of that deal. But it really didn't matter at that point. They're already loading them up at that point.
You know what's funny is the show is making it look like there was a lot of fish being caught by us, other than Rose, and really it's not. I mean, like, it was a slow grinder of a day.
It was. Yep.
I was getting just enough bites to where it was, I'd get a bite and then I'd do that deal for 30 more minutes and never get another bite, you know, and then you start scratching your head again and you've dug yourself deeper in the hole. And yeah.
You run somewhere else and get a bite immediately and you go, okay, good, I'm on it now. And you go for another 45 minutes. Run somewhere else and you catch one immediately. It's always like that.
Except for these two. I mean, they were just, that creek must have just been loaded with fish.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy too, is I remember there were so many locals on that same area of the lake because of that other tournament going on, and they weren't contending with that back there either.
Yeah.
Where I think all of us were having to deal with all the other local pressure.
Yeah.
Nice chunky two. This is the bait I'm throwing, a little Berkeley Chopo bone color.
Bone color.
All right.
Bone color, making it look easy.
Time to keep rolling. We got to cover some water, you guys.
See, that stuff right there was similar to what you were looking for, right, Jason?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
That flatter stuff. Yeah. Fewer bushes. More isolation.
Is that your dog barking?
Yeah, sorry. I
Bunch of booming
have a Great Dane. She has a loud bark.
My Chihuahua won't sound like that.
And I don't feel out of it.
That sounded like a big dog.
I'm waiting for her to break a window one of these days, trying to get to UPS delivering a package. She's
Is she like one of those great big ones?
Oh, the heck.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow.
Look, come here. This is Lola.
Oh my gosh.
What's the food bill on that dog?
What's that?
What's the food bill on that dog?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's not terrible. We feed her just under 4 cups twice a day, so about 8 cups a day of dry dog food. She weighs about 130 to 135, somewhere in there. She's a big girl.
My Chihuahua weighs about 8 pounds, about the size of her head.
Yeah, her mom or her dad was, I want to say, 160 pounds.
7 ounces.
She's 130-ish, somewhere in there. She's a big dog, but she's a big baby. She's funny.
Got a mean bark to her.
Oh yeah, it's vicious. There was one time that I came home from a tournament and my wife picked me up from the airport. I was out in the car getting my bags out, and she took Lola out to go to the bathroom, and she didn't know I was home. I came walk around the corner. I kind of crept up to scare her. And I'm thinking, here's this big security dog, that's going to basically rule the house while I'm gone. And she saw me and she took off running the opposite direction of my wife.
2 pounds, 2 ounces.
Don't tell that to the bad guys, right?
Right there. And they're just little tiny stupid fish.
Nope. Now she
Never been
stepped
caught
on my
before.
foot.
I don't even think you catch them. Maybe a little tiny crankbait. They're not even close to being a scoreable bass.
That just tells you the kind of fishing overall it is when a guy like Aaron Martins has 1 2-pounder.
See, again, that's that kind of isolated, not much stuff. I look for a lot of stuff like that. You're right there, Brent.
Yep.
I think that's what Jason really keyed on more so even earlier than that.
Right.
Yeah, you had mentioned it though. You had to cover so much of that water just to get bit that was probably the hard, especially the way Mark and Jordan were catching them. Hard to catch them.
Yeah.
Him and Christie should be knocking on bed. Local guys, come on.
I would like to know what goes on in his brain sometimes. I mean, like I always imagine a mouse riding a bicycle, and it's just smoke coming off of his wheel.
He's always analyzing stuff, that's for sure.
I love when he asks a question, answer the question, ask another question, answer that question, and then ask you a third question before you can answer the first one.
Yeah. The complete systems provider. Enjoy Crockett Creek beef jerky.
So are we through the? I wasn't even paying attention. Are we through the second period already? Or are we still in the second period?
I think we're in second still.
Yep.
You are my hero.
Whatever.
See, I'm outside of them right now, and I didn't know that those guys were in the back. Because I was behind Cody right there. And I had no idea that it went back farther and Gordon and Rose were back there in that same pocket.
Still over 3 hours of competition left in today's
Look at that. 28 bass out of that one pocket at the back of it, plus what you guys have caught at the mouth of it. Compared to the whole rest of the lake, that's pretty
If I was a
impressive.
bass, I'd be back behind all these trees. I can't get back there though. I can't even cast or nothing.
Aaron just said it right there. If I was a bass, I'd be back behind those trees, and that's probably where a lot of them were.
Stay on, fish. Stay on. Stay on.
In the jungle
Stay right
there.
there.
It was like that weird viney stuff that
you
can't get out of that. And he got hung up in there. I just lost him right before that too. Or missed it.
I got him. He's got me, but I got him.
Cody's picking up on Mark's scraps out there.
Yeah.
Is that a smallmouth?
I got him.
It was a black.
1 pound, 10 ounces.
All right, take it.
It looked like a smallmouth. I thought he said smallmouth.
Really?
Not a giant
If it was a smallmouth, this first one I ever.
No.
I take that back. I think over the years, you know, a few guys that 10 killer and Fort Gibson's only 20 miles apart. Guys come over here and fish, and we'll take them over there and let them go. So I shouldn't have said that it wasn't a smallmouth, but they're not supposed to be in there. It could have been a smallmouth.
Doesn't Hudson, which is above Fort Gibson, have smallmouth too?
Chipping away,
No,
guys.
Or is it just 10 killer?
just 10 killer.
Yeah, there's
Like I
extent
said,
of
they're starting to get spread out in the lake just because guys are catching them and taking them and letting them go. I mean, it's real random. I mean, you hear just, you know, you have a 200 boat tournament on one of those lakes and there might be one waiting.
Right.
Little
Yeah.
guy. Count some.
Shad everywhere in here.
Yeah. Wasn't there a million shad in that place? It was crazy how many shad there are.
Yeah.
Why would they bite anything I throw when all kinds of real shad are swimming around?
That's that creek right there. I was outside of it. Wow. Still going.
I'm ready to have a day like he had. I have not gotten to do that yet, especially in the finals. So I'm ready to have one like that.
You know, last year it seemed like we had a lot of good lake or fun lakes where you catch a lot of fish. And this year, it's been, I mean, obviously we've only had
consistent
a couple tournaments, but
Mark's having a
the lakes
day
I've
like
gone
I
to
had
here
on
in
that
Florida
first
and other places, it's been a grind so far. Everywhere you go,
Can't
you
catch Mark right now.
Yeah. I think that's just unfortunately the way the year's played out, and we're going to miss that little window there of probably the easy
That's my
fishing.
goal right now.
Yeah.
Maybe if we're fortunate enough to make it back to some of these cups this fall, we'll get to do some more of that.
Yeah.
fun.
Get in here. That's a keeper.
See, that's out. Cody's, I already made my turn and was coming out of there.
2 pound, 5 ounces.
And I caught one. I didn't realize what all was going on back there.
Good one. Just
So
gotta be
good.
patient.
Just that close. I mean, obviously with having the fish with it still, to know that you were that close to where it was really, really good.
18
Yeah.
pounds and 15 ounces now. 12 pounds, 13 ounces behind Mark Rose.
It's doable. Really is.
That's a fish, I think.
What am I doing? Oh, I remember that. That's when I finally tried to go catch some on a square bill, and it made it look easy. And then I go
14
another
ounces.
hour and
114. There we go.
Brent Chapman has moved to
The
fourth.
prime square bill looking spot.
1 fish. He now has 10
it
pounds.
was. I
4 ounces.
caught him there
Moved
before. I
to
put it
fifth.
there and I catch one on a square bill and thought, here we go.
This is a spot I can get back
Another
in
mile of
real
it
quick.
without
There's fish here.
maybe one or the two little.
Dad used to say all the time, some days you're the bug, some days you're the windshield.
Cody sounding a little frustrated at that point.
2 pounds, 1 ounce.
Just gotta catch more of them, more and more and more. Man, when I caught that one on the point, I thought, here we go. We're gonna go down this thing and
Decoy.
move.
Yeah.
Except for that one. And you get that guy's sick bass. His eyeballs all messed up.
Aaron got him in
Catch today in order to weigh a bass.
Jordan Lee's caught another fish, 1 pound, 1 ounce.
Thousands of them back there. Thousands of them.
You know what's funny in that tournament that we fished a couple of weeks ago? I started back in that creek.
Where's my sick bass? He's
Really?
For that reason, because you know, you just think I hadn't been there since we fished the cup. I thought, man, there was a bunch of fish back there. And I fish a lot at the mouth of it. I really never even been to the back there where they are. I fished all the way around that thing the other day. It took me like an hour 15. The water was only a couple of feet high, and I caught one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So they don't live back there all the time.
Oh,
Like
man.
I wasted a bunch of time, but
That's crazy.
just fishing, just trying to figure out.
Is that like I mean, that's just a perfect storm. I mean, you could fish 20 years there and they'd never be piled in there like that ever again.
Right.
Because it may never be that level again.
Well, or
in
it's
those
just
conditions.
something about a school from the main lake pushed in with that high water. That's probably what it was. You know, there was a school out there and they followed them all the way to the very back where they may never be able to ever again. that school of bass may not be out there at the mouth. It just happened to be that they were there and ran to the back. I mean, I'm assuming. I don't know.
I think the difference is all the other creeks, it's miles from them. I mean, it's miles from like deep water to the back. The creek that they're in is the only one. It's a half mile from the main lake to the back. They were trapped. I mean, other creeks, you know, the fish would spread out along the bank. Here, there just wasn't that far for them to go, and there's just more fish, deeper water.
Keep us in the middle of the hunt. We're still looking.
So, okay, so help me remember this. We're coming into the third period, but there's a lot more going on in this event than just winning it. Because isn't it the top 4 in each of these events would make it to the World Championship? And that's the other thing that we were trying to battle out.
The top 3 qualify for the World Championship.
Yeah, because we'll see how it plays out here. But yeah, if I remember right, I was really wanting to get ahead of you there, Brent.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, I get close, but I can't remember for sure.
After the first period, that was my goal. It was like I knew I couldn't catch them. I was just trying to get in the World Championship.
Yeah, that was actually. I think I just said something about it too. That why the number 1 goal of winning was done. We're a period away, and I'm 30 pounds behind, or whatever. I don't know what we'll see right here. I'm pretty far behind. There's really, I don't really look at winning as being an option at this point.
Brent Ehrler continues to sit in third place, but needs to
Third
hold
place
off the
spot
rest of the
to
field,
make the
who's
World
trying to break into the top 3.
Yeah, look at that. There wasn't many big fish caught. I mean, it was really surprising on the size. A lot of 2-pounders, but yeah, no 3-pounders and only 1.
In a hurry. With 1 period remaining, Mark
Interesting.
Rose knows he has to keep his
Got him
foot
at
on the
third,
gas
3-pounder
to
caught.
maintain the lead over Jordan Lee and the rest
Yeah,
of
but
the field.
But I have
looking at
one
this,
4-pounder, and everything else we did too.
For today's Yeti Cooler
Yeah,
Talk.
you know, that's what I love when you look at that score tracker. Mark Rose obviously wins this. He was truly the champion. You know what I mean?
I think you push it
To go out and catch twice the amount of weight that any of us did.
a certain pattern to wax those creeks, and yeah, I've been looking
More
hard
of a
for sure today.
competition. He truly kicked our tails that day.
How is that?
Yeah.
Well, when you're in second place and when you're coming from behind, it always, you know, seems to be a little easier. If I was leading this tournament right now in Mark's shoes, the pressure would I would be feeling it a little bit. But since I'm, you know, trying to catch them, it makes it a little easier.
What's it going to take for you to catch Mark Rose?
He's going to have to quit catching them for a little while anyways. I don't think I'm going to be able to, you know, keep up the pace that he's been catching them all day. It's been, it seems like he's been consistent throughout the day.
Mark Rose.
What did Mark have after the first period? Do you guys remember?
20, 25?
He's got
20?
1 period to catch.
First period?
I think so. 20 or 25, maybe 17, 7. I don't know. I don't know.
I think he had 14 after the first period, and he's at 39 now.
Exciting place to be.
Mark's got
He's
a big
getting
lead.
more and more
but
dialed
we're
in.
gonna
I
give it
forgot
a
what
shot.
it 29. 29 or 39?
He's in the 30s.
Intensifies
Okay,
the
so
20 seconds.
he more than doubled his first period weight in the second period.
Yeah.
And qualify for that world championship.
So obviously they were not.
We're all nipping at
He
your
wasn't
heel.
beating him up. I mean, he caught more than what he did the front. Well, who knows what time he got there in the first period? Or no, he started there in first period, didn't he?
Yep, he did.
He landed right there. So he caught 14 the first period. And what, 20, 14? I don't know. I can't remember what he actually had.
He's not hurting him, is what you're trying to say.
Correct. Yeah, he caught way more second period than what he
They're
did.
so deep, it's hard to get to the base of them, that's for sure. And a lot of fish are probably up in them anyways.
You know, over 20 pounds second period at least.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, right. I remember this. A big one followed me out of the brush right there.
Freaking kidding me.
There's one willow tree all by itself and had a green bush right at the base.
Like 2.5 pounder. Never even had it.
Good one followed. I remember this whole scenario right here because I've got a scar on my knee from it. You'll see here in just a second. But I kind of the wind was blowing me right into it, so I kind of
Catching up.
and had one chase, big one chase it out. I missed one on like the
Damn,
next
all right,
one or two
flipping.
flips
That tree
later.
is actually shallow. Most of these
And then
trees are
came
7 or 8
back at a
feet.
different
I
angle.
haven't been able to get to the shallow trees. They're too far in the
Or
forest.
just a
It's
rubber
just an
ball.
isolated
Volleyball
little
so
thing
good
on a
right
point.
here. Pull up here and
Looked perfect. You know, when you're driving down the lake, you can look at that and go, there's going to be one there in a flooded
Your
situation.
last fish weighed 1 pound 3 ounces. That brings your total weight to 6 pounds and 1 ounce. That moves you up into the 7th place spot ahead of Jason Christie.
Yes, not last place anymore.
Cody Myers in 6th with 8 pounds 6 ounces.
I just want to hit double digits. Just let me hit double digits.
5 ounces from the 6th place spot.
Yeah. One at a time, one at a time.
Those willow trees like
Right
to
here.
hold fish on them, man. I've
I
caught
can't
several on them this
a little bit
week.
different angle.
There's just not a lot of them. Good ones like this one.
Were you right there by the marina, Brent?
It was down, you know, a couple 100 yards, quarter mile.
Right close to the marina.
Violation, 2-minute penalty.
It was on that same shoreline going
1
into
pound,
the
0 ounces.
from takeoff.
Well, that helps.
Has caught a 1 pound fish.
Sit down for a
His
minute.
first place total is now
There you go, right here.
35 pounds, 5 ounces. Wow. Domination right there, man.
Look at that willow tree.
Ow.
Dang it, man. Oh, I had him too. Dang it. Broke a rod.
I skinned my knee on the decal on the deck.
Fish landing violation, 2 minutes.
I got a scar on my knee from I snapped the rod. All kinds of
You win
stuff.
the award for the best penalty of the week.
Yeah, yeah. I lose the fish. I got both of my knees are bleeding, and I snapped the rod right there. Look at that rod. I snapped the rod off, trying to grab that one, and then he goes, "Go ahead and sit down for 2 minutes because you got a penalty."
Yeah, you can't retie your rod or anything.
No.
Is there anything in the rules? Can you bandage your knees if they're bleeding at that point, or you cannot even do that?
I'm sure you can. I mean, there's no way that you couldn't do that, but it wasn't like gushing blood. It just took a couple layers of skin off. You know, it's almost like playing football on AstroTurf. You know, you get like it's almost like a burn.
Yeah.
You know, it's that same thing, and I think it was the same deal. You know, you get a burn on AstroTurf playing football or something. You get scars. And I got a scar on that decal on the front deck, and I'm looking at it right now. A little scar the size of a dime on the knee.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good find. There's some hard bottom down there. I felt it when I came through.
Jason.
Yep.
Just
Creek channel.
casting a swim jig out in the middle. I came over some rock.
Now we're still a shaky in the middle on the rock. That's crazy.
I'm just trying to fish my pattern on out.
I feel like a dang amateur. It's amateur hour here in MLF.
Better him than me on
That was a big one. I mean, he just flushed it. Golly.
I cannot believe they're catching them like that back there. It just does not look right.
Still catching it
Yeah.
after fishing them for 2 periods.
1 pound, 3 ounces.
All right.
There must have been a slew.
I can envision just a big old like 7 or 8 pounder.
Now back in that marina, I fished earlier.
Crazy is I couldn't catch anything off of docks, and usually that you catch them off of docks. There you go. Here I am smacking.
With that fish, I had 22 pounds, 14 ounces, 15.
No.
1 pound, 2 ounces. All right.
This is aggravating.
Jordan Lee
Like watching this. It's really
3 ounces. He now has 22 pounds.
making me mad knowing that they set. And I'd heard this after the event, but they're literally like just doing circles and swinging all day, and we're running around the lake, working our tails off, and they're sitting in one spot.
1 pound, 10 ounces.
Barely moving.
Mark Rose caught
We're saying doing laps. There's small little laps.
He now has 39 pounds, 15 ounces.
Wow. Way to go, Mark.
I need all of them.
Hey, Chapman, whenever you won the select, how much weight did you have? I think I remember it's almost going to be the same as what Mark's going to have.
No way.
Honestly, I don't remember. I wish I
Make
could
it
remember.
exciting for the rest of us.
It was a good day. I mean, I caught a lot of fish.
I think it was 47 is what I think you had.
That was fun. That was a fun day. But it was one of those deals.
One of the day.
I started out the day, caught a fish, in the first 5 minutes, and just kept catching fish all day long. And I think to win one of these deals, that's what you. Yeah.
All right. We're not
But then
done
we
yet.
seen that though before, where guys go out and catch them good the first period and small out, and then somebody
and moved into 4th place with 12
too.
pounds.
Yeah, Mark has 39. Jordan has 24.
So we moved ahead of Edwin and I.
Hey, don't forget about Christie down there with 5 now. He's still a threat.
We're still not out. I mean, if we
Oh,
go
yeah.
down the bank and I catch 3 or 4 of those fish, we're in the top 3.
But that's what we're all thinking about at that point, is that top 3.
Yeah.
And you're right on that bubble. We're all nipping at your heels.
I was thinking about the cheeseburger afterwards at that point with 5 pounds.
How about we just go up fairly early?
Yeah, that plays out. If I remember right, I think they got pretty
Sqwincher Patriot Cup,
I
presented
can't
by
remember if
Venmo from
I
Muskogee,
lose one or
Oklahoma.
two right at the end, or if I catch a couple that were just not quite scoreable or something like that. But
Okay, so this one right here, Jason, is that pocket where it's just in from those docks. And there's the guy back there in his crappie boat. He was tied up back there.
His name on the Patriot Cup trophy with his
I
dominating
came through
performance.
all around the docks, didn't have one, and I
Extending his
went
lead
back
over
to the
Jordan
top.
Lee
That
to
guy was there.
16 pounds. Behind him, the real battle ensues. Brent Ehrler is trying to hold on to the 3rd place qualifying line. Only 5 pounds, 10 ounces separates him from Cody Meyer, who's making a move. And behind him, Edwin Evers and Brent Chapman are just a couple of Berkeley big bass away from breaking into the top 3.
yeah, I didn't get close to
The
you.
World
I thought I
Championship.
got
We got to catch a few more.
You know what's funny, when it comes down to the last few hours, you just start trying to figure out how can I move up one place or two places, maybe a paycheck, making that world championship. But I thought I got close.
Easy. Nothing to
Now
worry
there's-
about over there, cuz.
I'm still amazed knowing the lake and knowing what lives there when the scoreboard came up earlier. So far, there's been 1 fish over 3 pounds caught. Somebody, Ehrler had a 4-pounder, and that's the only one over 3 pounds.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I think it's just the
And there's-
fall. You know how they kind of disperse out, and it's hard to target those bigger ones. Because it's got them. I mean, I'm telling you, it's got big ones.
1 pound.
Oh,
10
yeah.
ounces. All right.
Those fish landing violations.
Again, catching one. Joking.
Cody's just going up and down that same pocket is all he's doing, huh?
Hang on before you scream. Edwin Evers
Getting
has
away from
moved
the
into
guys that are
4th
in the
place.
back.
He now has a total of 13 pounds, 2 ounces. Cody, you've been moved to 5th place with 12 pounds, 2 ounces.
I made one little hot lap through there and caught 2.
No, I was going to say, man,
Never
when
came
I
back.
scream, if I catch one.
You should have stayed.
Under my rules for my boat official, I can't even straighten this back out, so I can't adjust it. I'd really like to, but I can't. Looks like I'm gonna have to retie it too.
In 30 seconds, you're welcome to do that.
Oh, Mark Rose is putting it on us today. Good job, Mark. Dadgummit. You're on fire, dude. I'm happy for you. You're a good dude. I got one.
I went back to the area where I caught him in the morning. It was weird that there's, of all the places in the lake, the whole fish, and there's 2 areas. I fished the entire stretch from the mouth all the way back. There's 2 little
guy.
Probably 40, 50 foot stretches that I fished, and every time I went back, I had multiple bites. But before, nothing, and after it, nothing. 2 little stretches. I mean, one stretch is actually 20 feet. The other stretch is probably 30 or 40 feet. That was it. You could fish for a mile and you never get a bite.
Mark Rose has went over the 40-pound mark. His last fish weighed 1 pound, 2 ounces. He now has a total of 41 pounds, 1 ounce.
41.
That happens a lot, don't you think? Though, like over,
It's hard to catch them.
there's just reasons why they, and we don't know the reasons why they live on 40-yard stretches or 100-yard stretches.
Yeah. Yep.
You work so
I wish we knew the answer to that. We'd probably be.
And I don't predict it. You just have to stumble on it, on something like that. It's not like, I mean, obviously where Mark is at, he specifically went there and it worked. But on a random bank side going in, it's not like,
the secondary point.
it's not like they're going to be right here and not there.
If I remember, Mark had never fit there either. Talking to him, he just kind of went there.
Not finished last.
Guess you call that luck to him. I don't know.
I can still do it, man. I got plenty of time. A couple 8s, 6 or something like that. It could happen.
There's
I don't know
Aaron.
if you folks at home can see the smile on my face. It's been pretty intense all morning long. But I'm getting a little special tingling feeling inside. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Hey, Ehrler, tell us about that trophy behind you.
Oh, that one right there? That was the very first cup event at Lake Amistad.
Lake
We
Amistad,
had no idea what was going on. This was the first time there. I mean, it was a skeleton crew that was there filming us. Lake Amistad was in November. And, it worked out. I ended up winning that one. That was the very first cup trophy right there. The very first Major League Fishing format was right there. It's kind of crazy. It was interesting.
Congrats on that.
Guys, the last guys, then I was the only FLW guy in there at the time.
Didn't you catch him on an umbrella rig?
No. AJ was throwing that. I caught him on a jerkbait.
Oh yeah.
I was just running a jerkbait there, and it's real similar to Lake Mead. And everything looked like Lake Mead. It was in the fall. I started running it just like it was, like I was fishing the U.S. Open or something, and they bit exactly the same way. It was pretty crazy.
Really?
Yeah, caught a lot of fish.
Never really got on a flurry.
This is the second little stretch that I had where they would always bite.
As of right now, unless Evan does something crazy here in the last 3 minutes.
I know it was down to I was rushing flip because I was right there on that bubble to make the world championship. I think Edwin was 4 or 5 pounds behind me maybe, but he catches 2 or he catches a 4 or 5 pounder, he could possibly bump me out of the world championship.
Here too, and I think I lost a cut. That's what it was. I lost one before that one, and I think I lose another one here.
I think they started to bite a little bit that afternoon because I remember I just caught one. I rolled back to the area where I started. I caught another one, and then I think on my very last flip, I lost one or hung one.
We're out of time. I'm getting railed on.
You see right there, Aaron just missed one.
Yeah.
We just got one.
Yeah, they were biting in that little pocket. If I'd have got on it a little bit sooner, and I think I'm actually just around from where Mike Rose and all those guys were. That same part of the lake.
That's the way to end it right there.
Yeah, one at the very end. That was your last cast.
One lines out. Mark Rose, you are the 2020 Patriot Cup champion.
Look at that.
Cody's right there.
Thank you, Lord. That's awesome.
41 pounds, and we're scratching to catch.
Well, that's a wrap, folks.
15, 20.
It's a great day. Not a good day, great day. We finished second place overall. Hats off to Mark Rose. He fished an awesome week and an awesome day. He pretty much smoked us. Wow.
So yeah, I wasn't as close as I thought.
Looking at this little pocket, I'd fished over here before, and I was like, we have 5 minutes left. Let's go over there. And I miss a fish and catch 2, and we run out of time. No telling what we could have.
Right there at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it was. After the clock, I just picked up my spinnerbait or chatterbait, went down that bank after the clock, and I think I caught 1 or 2. I wanted to see. Yeah.
Have you done that, Jason? If time's up, you got eliminated. You keep fishing. Have you done that?
Oh yeah, when you're mad, you could bite nails too. You want to catch the next one.
It just takes
I've never caught one though. Have you?
I did. It's funny because it was the knockout or the sudden death round, and we were at Bull Shoals. That one aired, right?
Not when he works
Yeah.
so hard to get here.
Yeah, and it.
I don't know what else to say about it. But
Brett Height was the fourth guy in. I was a pound and a half behind him. And I was so mad. I go, man, I know that there's another one right here. And I mean, like, I'm not joking. Like, 3 casts later, I catch a 2-pounder. I missed the cut right there. You know, I was a pound and a half out. Brett went out first. I mean, if it was, like I said, like 3 casts more, and I would have made the cut.
That's funny. I've never caught one.
That's the only time I'd ever caught one, though. I've done it a couple times. That's the only time I've ever
They
caught
should
one.
probably show that as the after the clock deal type of deal. Give the rest of us guys 5 extra minutes to see how it plays.
I had one where I had my fishing fish for a little bit. I'm like, here, come run the boat, catch one.
If I remember right, that little deal there, I think I was putting my rods up and I grabbed my Saturday there and I was like, I'll throw some bushes and think I caught one and have another thing. Oh, well, all we can do is qualify for the next one and hopefully,
The Sqwincher Patriot Cup, presented by Venmo, is now in the books. Today, 8 of the top professional anglers from the Bass Pro Tour hit the water on Fort Gibson Lake, ready to battle it out for the Patriot Cup Championship. The elevated water and large schools of bait kept our anglers guessing as they hunted for scoreable bass. Jason Christie and Brent Ehrler struck first and looked as though they were off to a good start. But it was Mark Rose who located the bass early and started pulling in the pounds. The rest of the field wasn't having much luck in their search for scoreable bass until Jordan Lee changed locations and picked the right spot. He began to chip away at the lead, getting within 3 pounds before Rose punched the gas and completely dominated the field, winning his first Cup championship ever.
So think about that. If Mark was in there and caught him on the side that Jordan was in, and Jordan came in and saw him and went the other way, Jordan
I
wins.
caught most of my fish this week on
Yeah.
a Team Lose Custom Pro
That's so crazy about how close
I designed
because
for
Mark
ledge
was on the
fishing.
better side.
It's a
Maybe it was a
jig
bigger
worm
side
rod.
too. I don't know
Great
the area,
pitching
so
rod
maybe it
around
was
docks and bushes and things
a
like that.
wider
3/8 and a half
pound
pound
on the
straight
one
king
side,
tungsten.
and the other side was
Actually
smaller.
scraped
So.
the paint off of it to give it a little flash. Anytime I'm fishing in the fall and summer, I really like the silver color. In the spring, I like the more natural looking stuff. Team Lose Custom Pro Ledge Series jig worm rod.
I know.
20-pound
I
cigar
gotta
nuts and
scrape the
fluorocarbon, Lose
scrape the
Hyper Mag reel, 7.5 to 1 gear ratio. It's just a perfect little combo for pitching.
Mark Rose, you are the 2020 Patriot Cup champion.
Today it was our turn to win, and I thank him for it.
Mark Rose dominated the field by racking up
Well,
over
congrats,
41 pounds of
You
bass
made the
on
World
Fort Gibson Lake
Championship, I think,
to earn his
in that
first
deal.
Patriot Cup title. The top 3 finishers in today's
that,
round
Brett?
have
Sorry.
qualified to compete in the upcoming World Championship.
Yeah, you did.
With
You made the
today's
World
win,
Championship.
Mark
So
Rose
congrats on that
advances to the
deal.
World
So,
Championship and will be joined by
yeah, that
Jordan
was
Lee and
quite an
Brent
event.
Ehrler.
I think Jason and I would definitely say we'd love to try that one.
Who hauled in this
There you go with the
4-pound,
big
3-ounce
fish.
stud back in period 1.
4 pounds.
No other 3-pounders than that 1 4-pounder. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Look at that one.
And look at that thing. It's big. You know, almost like post
goes to
spawn,
Brent
both
Ehrler as
in
well.
the spinny.
He caught a clutch fish in the final period to hang on to 3rd place and punch his ticket to the World Championship. Let's send it over to Marty Stone, who's with the Patriot Cup champion, Mark Rose.
You made it look easy today.
Man, Marty, it wasn't easy. Early on in my first 2 rounds, I found something that I got 1 bite, and it was after I had tried cranking, top water, all that kind of stuff. I got 1 bite flipping. The next round, I was able to find more of that. I found a creek on the lower end of where we were. It was a long, narrow creek. I needed to be on that little contour, hitting the green bushes and the hard cover right on that little drop. The water's falling. I think those fish were pulling out. The shad were really around those little green bushes. Got back there, was throwing a little swim jig with a Strike King menace on the back of it, and I was flipping a menace. It was a 1-2 punch for the last 3 days. That was the deal. I couldn't catch them on anything else, really. And man, it was just a blessed day. I thank the good Lord for it, and I couldn't be any more proud, man. I love this sport, and to be able to come out on top with this field, good feeling.
Mark Rose shows what experience can do. And now he's your Patriot Cup champion, presented by Venmo.
This concludes the Sqwincher Patriot
There you go.
Cup presented by Venmo from
Big hats
Muskogee,
off.
Oklahoma. Look for us
Agree, Mark.
at our next
We
exciting
earned that
event.
on that Patriot Cup win, and
Major League Fishing.
looking forward to the day I get to hold one of those trophies up. Yeah, that was a tough one to watch, but enjoyed it, guys. I don't know about you, I had a good time. I learned a lot from it, and I appreciate the time hanging out here watching it, and hopefully soon we're all going to be out there on the water competing again. So in the meantime, I think you guys are fishing a lot yourselves. I think we're all going to look like that, aren't we, Jason, from now on out? So
it's like this.
Yep, that'll be the new deal. So guys, with that, good seeing you. Stay safe, and I guess we'll see you out there on the tournament trail soon.
You got it, man. Thanks for doing this. It was fun, and we'll see you guys out there.
All right, take care. See you, fans.
Be good.